Do you want to build cool applications with GenAI, but notice that your ChatGPT API bill is turning out to be higher than your monthly heating bill? Well, worry no more, because by running your LLM locally, you don't have to pay for ChatGPT tokens, and the heat of your GPU will just also keep you warm. There are many ways of running LLMs locally, but almost all of them are based on this repo, which is llama.c++, which, as it says, allows you to do LLM inference, and the library itself is written in C++. And a quick look at this repo, you will see that you can not only use Apple Silicon, you can also use NVIDIA GPUs and many others. And what this allows you to do is, first off, of course, run the LLM locally. It also offers you a tool to spin up a OpenAI API compatible HTTP server to serve your LLM. And it also contains many tools such as these, which allow you to evaluate your LLMs, and even tools that you can make your own quantizations of LLMs and merge LoRa adapters. If you don't know what that means, no problem. These are very advanced tools, and I also use these myself when creating my own fine-tunes of LLMs, but I feel like llama.c++ is a bit too complex for most use cases, as many people just want to run an LLM and they don't need to evaluate LLMs or create quantizations or other things that llama.c++ offers. So that's why today we will actually be looking at Ollama, which is a very useful wrapper around llama.c++. Ollama makes it very easy to spin up a local LLM and also offers you a lot of LLMs right from the batch, which you can just easily run, and then Ollama will pull this model and run it, so you don't need to go on Hugging Face to find your own models. So in short, in this tutorial, we will be first installing Ollama, and I will show you how you can use it to run one of those models that Ollama offers. Then we will and then I will show you how you can go on Hugging Face and find a custom model there yourself and also run it with Ollama. This can be very helpful, as many people are creating fine-tunes which might be useful for specific use cases, and you can also host those with Ollama. And finally, I will show you how you can invoke these models you're hosting with Ollama using Python, so you can actually code some applications with it. Okay, so let's get started and download Ollama. First go to ollama.com, click on download and find the platform you're using. I'm using macOS, so click download. Okay, let's click the install button, open it, move to applications, and you can see the Llama button is showing up on top. So normally it is now installed. And to use it, you will have to open up your terminal, and you can check if it's installed by just calling Ollama, and you will see in this case Ollama is successfully installed. So, but how can we now get a model? First off, the easiest way is to just go to the model section on the Ollama website, and here you can browse through all the local models that are offered, which are basically all the important models. At the moment, Llama models, I believe, are some of the best models, but a while ago I was often also using Mistral models. And it's of course important to know which kind of model you can run, because of course Llama 3, if you click on it, you will see that it's a 1770 billion parameter model, which requires you to have 43 gigabytes of RAM. And I believe you probably won't have that, so you can't run this model. And I have a MacBook M1 Pro, I have 16 gigabytes of RAM, so I believe if you have just a normal laptop or GPU, I think the maximum you can go is something like 8 billion parameters, or maybe 12, because you also need some RAM to just run your regular program, so your PC isn't taken up entirely by the LLM that's running. So a very small but still very good model is this Llama 3.2 model. And as you can see, there is both a 3 billion parameter variant and a 1 billion variant. These models were released in September, and these small models are especially meant to be used on small devices and can still be used for instruction following and summarization. And I believe they also have tool calling capabilities, which is very impressive for such small models. Another possibility which you could use is Llama 3.1, which was my, or it's just called Llama 3, no, 3.1, which was my previous favorite model, and this actually comes in an 8 billion parameter variant, which is still small enough that most GPUs can run it. And when I was doing fine tunes myself, I was actually often using this Llama 3.1 model. Another model you can look out for are the Mistral models. For example, this one, also 7 billion parameters. But at the moment, let's just focus on this Llama 3.2 model. And it's very easy to pull this model and run it. You can just copy this command, go back to your terminal, paste the command, and it will start downloading the model. Okay, and you will see just right after it's run, it's actually invoked. So you can type hello, and the model will answer you. To exit the chat, you can type bye, and it's exited. You can then see which models you have installed by typing the Ollama show command. Oh no, I mean the Ollama list command, my bad. And then you will see which LLMs you have installed. And then to run it back again, you can type Ollama run, copy the model version, and you're back once again in the chat. But of course, interacting with the LLM just through the terminal isn't very nice, especially if you're used to some UIs like ChatGPT. But to solve this, you have this very nice UI called Open Web UI. You can, on this repo, find some ways to install it. You can either use Python, but I would actually recommend you to install it with Docker and execute this command, because it integrates very well with Ollama. So let me run this Docker container of Open Web UI. Okay, so it should be available on this port. You will have to authenticate yourself for some reason. It's not that Web UI uses this, but this basically offers you a very nice interface to interact with your local models, and you can here easily select this model. Then I can type hello, how are you? And my local LLM will be invoked through Ollama. But what if the model you want to run isn't available on the Ollama repository? And this can happen because a lot of fine-tunes are created and only the main versions of the models are supported on Ollama. Also, Ollama only supports certain quantizations of models, which quantizations, if you don't know what it means, it's basically a trade-off between the accuracy of the model and the amount of memory it takes to load the model. Let's see. So on this page, everything is a bit explained. So you can see that by quantizing a model, for example, with the Q40, that's also what Ollama often uses, you can often trim down the size of the model by a lot, for example, more than a half. And this allows you to run the model on more budget hardware, and you only take a bit of a performance hit. And also when you go looking for your own models, you will see a lot of these strange names, and these just indicate that the model is quantized. I think the most important thing you need to know is that the lower this number is, the higher the more quantized the model is, so the less bits are used per weight. But as you use less bits to represent numbers, you of course lose precision, so the model will also be less accurate. And what's often recommended is to not go any lower than the Q4 quantization, and yeah, that's also what Ollama uses for most of their models. But what if you want to have a custom model? You will need to go on Hugging Face. You need to start searching for GGUF models. And GGUF model is the file type that Llama C++ uses to easily load and store LLMs. And because Ollama is based on Llama C++, we also need these GGUF files for to run models with Ollama. But luckily on Hugging Face you can easily tag that you only want to see files that are in this format, and you will see a lot of fine-tunes and different model variants can be found. And for example, when you click on a certain one, for example this one, you will see often people create a lot of different quantizations of the same model. And to download a model, you can just click the download button and it will start downloading. Something else you need to pay attention to is that you will often see that models are tagged with instruct. For example, also when you just look at the regular Llama 3 models, you will see we have both a instruct variant and a regular variant. And if you want to use the LLM for conversation purposes, such as ChatGPT, you will have to download the instruct variant, as this is fine-tuned for conversations, while this is just a vanilla version, and this is only useful for just providing text completions. So the instruct variant is just a base variant, but then fine-tuned with certain tokens to delineate the conversation, so that the LLM basically learns how to have a conversation. However, if you want to create your own fine-tunes of models, it's often recommended to start from the base model, because you sometimes want to use your own conversation template, and yeah, the instruct variant is already fine-tuned on another template. But for our purposes, we will want to have the instruct variant. So let's download this model and then add it to Ollama. So you see I downloaded this quantization of the instruct model, and to add it to Ollama, we will first need to create a model file which will specify how Ollama needs to interact with the model. And this looks a bit overwhelming, and it can be at first if you don't know much about the technical side of LLMs, but everything is once again explained on this page, how you can create this model file. And what does this model file consist of? First, Ollama needs to know which model you want to add, so you need to specify with the from statement. You will need to specify the model you're trying to add, which you should just type the exact name. Afterwards, you can also specify some parameters with the parameter, but I just keep everything at default. But if it can be useful to experiment with certain things, experimenting with the temperature, lowering it makes the responses more deterministic. So it can be useful for some use cases, but I would just leave it at default. Then the most important thing is if you want to use a conversation model, so one that's tagged with instruct, then you will also need to specify a chat template, as the LLM can only respond, can basically only, what it does is completing your text. So you need to format your entire conversation into a single string, which the LLM will then complete. And you will need to specify how Ollama should take your conversation and format it into that string. And the way that it needs to be formatted is dependent on the way that the LLM is fine-tuned to create this instruct variant. So we actually need a template. And the hard thing is that this template depends on the way the LLM is fine-tuned, so it can differ between model providers. And it's also important to specify which tokens indicate that the turn of the assistant is done, as at the end of the generated answer of the assistant, it will either it can output a couple of tokens which Ollama needs to pick up on to know that the conversation turn of the assistant is done. And this is also dependent on the LLM itself. So for example, when we go to Llama 3.3 on Ollama, you will see that this is the chat template that is used, and you can also see that these are the parameters which indicate the end of the turn of the assistant. I understand if you're new to LLMs that my explanation probably isn't very clear, but I would recommend you to go to this Hugging Face page, which explains it a bit clearer. As you can see, for example, we have this conversation, and most tokenizers of LLMs have this apply chat template method, which will then format this into this string, and then the LLM will know how to complete this. And I would actually recommend you to, when you find a model on Hugging Face, to find out this template, I would just search the base model on Ollama, and in this case I was using the Llama 3.2. So let's go Llama 3.2, and then just copy the templates from here, which is also what I did. And then for these stop parameters, I just looked at the stop parameters and copied them once again. So once we have all of this, we can now create the LLM within Ollama. And the way to do this is by typing Ollama, okay, let's enhance it, Ollama create, and then the name of the LLM, for example, custom LLM, and then you specify the file, model file. It will be transferring the data, and it's successfully added. And when we invoke Ollama list, you will see that my custom LLM is added. And then with Ollama run, I can invoke it. Let's type once again, hello. And you will see that, yeah, it's working. It also might be fun to see what happens when I don't specify this template. And when we don't specify this template, yeah, Ollama will simply not know how to format our conversation, and we will get some weird outputs. So let's create it again. Let's run it again. And when I type hello, he will just keep on typing some gibberish, just like the LLM is now just in completion format, and yeah, it will just complete our text like a normal LLM, which isn't fine-tuned for instructions. So let's stop this, and yeah, remember to always put in your template if you get some output like this. As I believe many of you are also developers, I will also show you how you can use Ollama in Python. There are two ways you can do this. First off, you can use the Ollama Python package. So let's first show you that one. First install it, and then let's list our models. Let's use this model, and you can basically import this chat method from the Ollama package, pass in your conversation just like you would do with the ChatGPT API, and parse the response. So let's execute it. It can take a while depending on how long the response is, but we'll basically see that it answered my question. The API, or the Python API of Ollama also offers things such as structured outputs, which also the OpenAI API offers. For example, I can request that my response should be put in this format. For example, tell me about Canada, and it will I will ask it to structure the output in this format. Okay, why isn't it working? Okay, the wrong model. Let's change that. And it will correctly give me my response in this JSON. But I believe I wouldn't actually use this Ollama package, but instead what's really interesting is that you can also just use the OpenAI package and just specify that it needs to route to your local LLM instead of the OpenAI LLM. And the way to do this, first install the OpenAI package, and then just initialize your OpenAI client like this. And then you can use just the same OpenAI API that you were using before to interact with ChatGPT, to interact with your Ollama models. This makes it very handy to quickly switch out local LLMs for OpenAI models within your application. And it also offers, it also supports most of the other API methods that OpenAI offers. For example, structured outputs. Once again, we can ask the same, tell me about Canada, and specify that we want our format in this country Pydantic model, and just call it once again, and it will just do exactly the same, but this time you can just keep your code the same way that you did it with the OpenAI models, but instead invoke Ollama models. So in short, I believe Ollama is the easiest and also the best way for most people to run local LLMs. The library is updated continuously. They support new model releases very fast, and you can see they are constantly improving the tool. Even though it's a wrapper around llama.cpp, I believe it offers sufficient benefits. However, if you're looking for some more specialized things, such as quantizing models yourself, I would recommend you to go to llama.cpp. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any more questions about how to run models, or if you want to see a video about me fine-tuning one LLM myself, leave it down in the comments below, and I hope I see you guys in the next video.